Hey guys, we're here today discussing Hisuian Decidueye and why I think this is actually going to be the worst grass fighting type we've had yet. If you want to continue watching, of course, leave a like below and subscribe for more content just like this. This moveset will obviously be covering stuff from Legends Arceus potentially. However, I'll go over a potential couple of moves that it could maybe get. But honestly, I think this Pokemon is beyond saving, and I'll get into that. So with that said, let's start the video. So first things first, in comparison to other grass fighting types that we have so far, this probably is one of the worst stat lines. Now, obviously, credit where due, this Pokemon does have a few things going in its favor. One, being the fact that I believe it is the most Spadef out of any of the grass fighting types we have so far, barring Virizion. So to put in perspective of the other Spadef stats of grass fighting types, we have, for example, Breloom, which has about 60 Spadef. We have Chestnut, which is 75. Virizion's 129, which is an extreme case, to be fair. And then finally, we have Hisuian Lilligant, which has 75. So this has a base 95 Spadef stat. So if you want something that has a okay middling bulk, this would probably be the one for you, because it has more Fizz Def than, by a small amount, than Virizion, to be fair. But I don't think it'll matter a ton. Though, I guess where this does have an edge is, unlike Virizion, this actually gets bulk up to boost the Fizz Def a little bit. So I think it's a small edge this actually does have. However, I say that very, very loosely because this has no good physical fighting moves. And this isn't even going to be an issue of transfer might fix this. No. This is no good physical fighting moves. The one exception I could find maybe is either A, if Triple Arrows gets modified, which if Triple Arrows gets modified into a move that actually accommodates for the mechanics of Sword and Shield, this could be good. But if we look at, to be fair, while this one is a much lesser case compared to other moves in Legends Arceus, Triple Arrows is basically going to be a move that raises the attack stat for a few turns for the future hits, as well as also lowering the target's defensive stats for a few hits, and always gets a critical hit. So this move, there's no way in hell, because it's only a temporary stat change, there's no way in hell this will modify to that same case. Maybe it'll keep the base 50 with 100 accuracy, guaranteed crit, and like maybe it'll boost your physical attack or something by +1, like a power up punch that always crits. Even still, that would be absurdly broken because it just hits harder and it's still 100% accurate and it's guaranteeing crit while always boosting attack. I feel like that would be a really extreme case. I think that truthfully, they just made this fighting type Wicked Blow with maybe like a little bit less base power, just because fighting is a little bit better on offensive typing. Could be really good. But regardless though, I still think that even with that, this Pokemon is too slow to really utilize. Base 60 speed is horrible. And even if you were to throw this on a webs team, this would be pretty impossible to use in my opinion. So other areas, I guess, if this did get a good fighting move, Low Sweep is one that I think could save this Pokemon, but I would give up on any hope of stuff like Close Combat, Drain Punch, etc., because both those moves are actually in the game. High Jump Kick is the only other fighting move I could see maybe being added to this besides Low Sweep. Low Sweep I have a little bit more hope for because regular Decidueye got it, and that wasn't even a fighting type. But I think a High Jump Kick is a potential possibility. I mean, this Pokemon, it seems like it's mostly, like it has the legs, I think, that could fit for High Jump Kick. But again, wouldn't hold out hopes for that good of a fighting move in this. High Jump Kick is the best bet, in my opinion. With that said, though, what sort of sets can we make work for this Pokemon? So, first things first, we do have a set, this is depending on Low Sweep being added, but this would be a pretty good set, and in my opinion, the best set that could be added. I don't even think the Band would be that good of a set, and I'll get to that when I go into a later set in the video, but I think that this is personally the best set that could be on this Pokemon, barring the exception being is if Triple Arrows carries over exactly as it functions in Legends Arceus, which in that case I think that Band at that point could work really well. But with this set, you'd be careful with 252 HP, 252 Spadef, and 4 attack, with Roost, Leaf Blade, Low Sweep, and Bulk Up. Now I think that this set actually could have some merit with Low Sweep, being the fact that you're dropping the speed every time you use Low Sweep, and it is still 65 base power with 100% accuracy, so that actually could have some good use in this Pokemon that has some terrible speed. Now, I don't think this is a Pokemon you will ever really see use outside of the, like, NUP tier, but it could maybe have some use there, because realistically, Hisuian Lilligant will probably be at worst UU. Breloom is typically an OUVU Pokemon, Chestnut is typically like an RU Pokemon, and Virizion is typically like an RU-NU Pokemon, but it would function very differently at least, if nothing else. But Hisuian Decidueye, I really don't see having a lot of use with this set anyway. However, what I will say is that the fighting and grass typing is actually not that terrible. Offensively speaking, it's just gonna have competition with every other one is all. But with Roost, you can actually keep this thing pretty healthy, which is actually the other reason why I didn't go with Overgrow as an ability. I went with Long Reach because the fact that you're probably going to be clicking Low Sweep more than anything, and then using Leaf Blade to clean, if I had to guess. And as well, with the leftovers and the Roost, you're probably keeping this thing out of Overgrow range in most situations. you will more likely than not benefit from having long reach to avoid stuff like Rocky Helmet Chip or Rough Skin. And this also assumes the abilities do carry over as placeholdered in Legends Arceus. To be fair, there are still placeholders, just like the fact that we don't have a fully complete moveset for Legends Arceus Pokemon. We don't know if the abilities will actually be carrying over. We've had instances even in mains, like legitimately like formulaic Pokemon games, such as, for example, Black and White, had Chandelier's placeholder as Shadow Tag, and that changed to Infiltrator as of Gen 6 and on. So even for like the legitimately formulaic games in the main series, that has happened before. Same as with the legendary dogs, Suicune, Raikou, and Entei. They had the evolutions abilities for the base abilities, stuff like Water Absorb Suicune, Volt Absorb Raikou, and they all became inner focus. So if those can change, I think there's a very good chance that these could change. But if it keeps long reach, I think it actually could maybe hold a place in NU, personally. If it has something really bad, or at least not on par with long reach in my opinion for this set, can't really see this being above PU, but I think that might actually be an ability that could save this Pokemon into the NU tier at best. Purely, again, just to avoid the contact. Next up, though, we have an Overgrow set with Focus Sash. This set I did throw Overgrow on because I think that Leaf Blade could be utilized, actually, between the Brave Bird recoil, on top of also the fact you are a Focus Sash set, to maybe benefit from going for any sort of Overgrow boost with Leaf Blade. This is the Spikes variant, which Spikes are actually confirmed in this Pokemon, weirdly enough. So this isn't just me headcanoning them on here. They are actually confirmed, which is honestly the other saving grace of this Pokemon, truth be told. Knockoff is really good as a utility move, and while this isn't a move on Decidueye in Legends Arceus, this actually is a move on Rowlet through Egg moves typically, as well as Tutor. I forget which it is, but it's definitely a move on Rowlet specifically. So this Pokemon will probably carry it over in future games, as long as there's a way to evolve this Pokemon in future games from that. If nothing else, as long as Egg move mechanics carry over, you could technically do that because they both share the same base, being Rowlet. So unless there's some really weird thing about the final evolution form not being able to, it should in theory carry over if it keeps the Sword and Shield Egg move mechanics through the daycare. But regardless though, Brave Bird is still also another confirmed move on this Pokemon, so even if that doesn't carry over, at least Brave Bird will. Brave Bird's pretty cool just as an option to counter stuff that Leaf Blade wouldn't hit that well. It's neutral versus most Pokemon that grass resist, but it's super effective, especially against other grass types, which could be really useful if nothing else. Not going to be the best set, but it could be a cool Spiker if nothing else that has a unique typing for Spikes, so that could be something, I guess. I don't really see this being that great of a lead, though, but Overgrow Leaf Blade is still a pretty good option if nothing else against other leads such as typical ground types or rock types that you see in lower tiers. Stuff like, for example, Rhyperior, which to be fair, that's typically an RU Pokemon, but it is still typically a lower tier Pokemon nonetheless. Also stuff like Palossand, for example. So you have the option to actually damage those Pokemon, so it could be a good counter lead for typical hazards, but again, don't really see us having a lot of good use in the lower tiers. Now finally, I did mention that I had one more set left over, and that is the Specs set. Now, I threw this on here just to have one moveset on here that was completely usable with Legends Arceus moves. And even then, that is a stretch to make work on this Pokemon. This Pokemon, again, assuming that Triple Arrows does not carry over and it gets the same treatment as Let's Go Pikachu Eevee moves, which if you think that's not going to happen, Let's Go Pikachu Eevee are technically main canon games, their main storyline. So if that can happen for Let's Go Pikachu Eevee and all the weird moves with the weird mechanics can get cut from those, I really don't see a reason why these won't get cut either personally, or at least modified heavily within to where they're probably not going to be that great. So with that in mind though, if we have a moveset that off of traditional mechanics for moves that this Pokemon is confirmed to have, I would argue that Specs is the best moveset, which sucks. Like, this is a really terrible moveset. And I don't think a Band gets much better, because with Band, if you were to do that, even if Triple Arrows, let's say, carries over exactly as is, Triple Arrows would be the one saving grace. But if you carry over, let's say, to like Thunderous Kick level, and this just gets Thunderous Kick, which should be fair, that could also actually be pretty good for Band. But you'd go with like pretty much the same sort of coverage on this. It would be like Leaf Blade, Triple Arrows, Brave Bird, and then you'd probably throw a knockoff at that point, which could be pretty good. I could have maybe covered that, I guess, if it functions like Thunderous Kick even did. But that's being kind to it, to be fair. Again, I don't think the move will carry over in any way, shape, or form, personally. And at that point, then your best fighting move is Rock Smash off of in-game canon, or Low Sweep even, which I don't think locking into Low Sweep is really that good of a play, personally. It would only really work with something like a Thunderous Kick where you're dropping defense. So unless it drops defense or boosts attack with a high base power move that's not like a power punch level, like it would need to at least be Thunderous Kick level, in my opinion, to have Band be viable. So with Specs, you're going to be stretching to Aura Sphere, Leaf Storm, Energy Ball, and Air Slash, and really at that point, you may as well just use regular Decidueye. Like, I get you're not going to have fighting with Aura Sphere specifically, but regular Decidueye still will get some good options with stuff like Hex, just like a Shadow Ball, Leaf Storm, Energy Ball, Air Slash. Like, just use regular Decidueye. You'll even have momentum at that point with U-Turn. So I think if you've learned nothing else from this video, if you want to use a grass fighting starter, use Chestnut. If you want to use a grass fighting type in general, use Breloom or Hisuian Lilligant. If you want to use a grass fighting type with high speed F, use Virizion. And if you want to use Decidueye, use the Alolan version. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, or at least learn something new. If you did in any way, shape, or form, leave a like below and subscribe for more content just like this. The next two Pokemon we'll be covering are going to be Ursaluna into Enamoris. I think they're going to be pretty interesting discussion pieces. And they're two of the Pokemon I think that have the most versatility to them, if nothing else, for viable movesets. So hopefully you guys enjoy seeing that. Comment though what you want to see after those two Pokemon, because I'm going to be bulk recording a bunch of these over the week. So with that said, shout out to our channel members, aka Zeke0, Josh aka Ultra Player, Randy Chappa, Mia, Rika Hoshizora, and Pokemon fan the Majestic Xerneas. Your support is greatly appreciated and helps keep the channel going. With that said, I will see you guys later. Until then, peace out guys.